If you go walking into that Spurlington Tunnel past midnight, something changes in the air. It don't feel like night no more. It feels older, like time don't move in there the way it does out here. Your breath will come out in little white clouds even in July. And just when your flashlight starts to flicker, just when the stones start sweating like the tunnel's breathing around you, you'll hear it, low, drawn out, like a voice that's been waiting a long, long time to speak. Now, we're telling this one out by the river tonight. There's something about this spot, the way the moonlight dances on the water and the old sycamores lean in like they're listening. It's peaceful, sure, but it's got an edge to it. Like the dark out here don't just settle, it watches. And stories like this, they breathe better under stars with firelight flickering and shadows stretching just beyond the tree line. So, welcome on back to Kentucky Melody, where tales don't always stay buried, and ghosts got a bad habit of holding grudges. Tonight, we're winding down an old line, right into the black heart of Taylor County, where the Spurlington Tunnel still waits, damp and forgotten. The tracks ain't sung in decades, but the stone, it still whispers. Some say there's a curse coiled up in that tunnel. Others say it's just the wind playing tricks. But the folks round here, they don't go near it. Not after dark. Not since Aunt Nancy vanished. And if you're listening close right now, you best keep one eye on the woods behind you, because sometimes when we speak a name too loud, something listens back. That tunnel, she ain't just long, she's deep, carved through the belly of the earth between 1867 and 1874, right after blood ran neighbor to neighbor in that dang war. They blasted her from blue limestone, nearly 2,000 feet of pitch-black vein through the mountain, and right in her gut, they bored a smoke shaft, like the mountain needed a throat to scream through. They called it a marvel back then, iron rails running through the bones of old Kentucky, steam hissing like the breath of some caged beast. But even before the tracks were laid, long for any whistle ever cut through them hills, those woods had a silence to 'em, not the peaceful kind. No, the pressin' kind. The kind that sits too heavy in your ears, like it's waiting for you to speak first. Like something is listening, and just past the edge of that hush, in a crooked little shack leaning off the slope, lived Nancy Bass. They called her Aunt Nancy, but she weren't nobody's kin, didn't have no family, didn't need none. She was what folks used to call an herbal woman. Could fix up a salve to pull the poison from a copperhead bite, or stop a fever with leaves and smoke and spit. But that weren't the end of it. Not near. Some said she talked to the wind, and it talked back. Others swore she could read the breath that seeped out of the rocks. Said she knew when the stone was angry. She hung charms from her porch, twisted little bundles of crow feathers, bones, teeth, and hair that wasn't hers. Left tea out for what she called the watchers. And more than one fella, walking too close to her fence after dark, said they heard her speaking in a tongue no Christian should know, and something speaking back from the woods, low, wet, like a voice made of moss and mud. They whispered she was a witch, a real one. Not the kind you tell tales about to spook children, the kind that don't need no broom. Just a stare, a word, a nail hammered into the heart of a tree. And wouldn't you know, After she disappeared, the tunnel stopped being just stone and shadow. It started watching back. They say Jesse James and his gang come riding through Taylor County once, quiet and fast, just shadows on horseback. Used that old line to move their stolen silver and southern gold, running it straight through the hills on iron wheels and smoke. And there's a whisper, low and cautious, like folks are scared the wind itself might be listening, that Jesse buried part of that gold somewhere near the Spurlington Tunnel, right near where Aunt Nancy's cabin used to sit. Somehow, some say she found it. Maybe she aimed to keep it. Maybe she meant to tell the law. But either way, Aunt Nancy vanished. She weren't seen again. Not alive anyhow. No grave, no bones, just a single black scarf, hers, hanging from a tree limb near the tunnel's mouth, knotted up so tight no blade could cut it. Wind never took it, neither. And when men came later, trying to dig in them hills, things went wrong. Shovels snapped clean in half. Lanterns died like breath held too long. And tough mountain boys, fellas who'd faced war and worse, ran. One of them swore he felt the mountain itself pressing down on him. Said the rock was angry, hateful. Said he heard a woman laughing, high and far away, but coming from deep underfoot. Laughter that crawled up through the cracks in the stone like smoke from a cursed fire. He ain't been right since. And to this day, nobody's touched that ground. Nobody dares. 'Cause whatever Aunt Nancy found, she kept. And if you go digging for it, she might just come scratching her way up to see what you've brought her. It weren't long after that the whispers began. Folks say, if you go hunting for Jesse's gold, start poking around them hills with greed in your heart, you'll hear her, Aunt Nancy, not loud, not shouting, but clear as creek water on a still morning, like she's standing right behind your ear. And what she says will freeze the marrow clean out of your bones. Take what ain't yours, and I'll take what is. And she does. First, your warmth, then your breath, then your mind. Back in the 70s, some teenage boys from Campbellsville thought they'd try their luck. Heard the story, figured it was just old-timers trying to scare off trespassers, but they never even made it to the second hill. One of them, 15 years old, strong as a plow mule, came back with a head of hair turned snow white. Wouldn't speak, wouldn't eat, just sat in his daddy's rocker for days, staring at nothing and whispering over and over, "She's seen me, she's seen me." Another one went missing. They found him 3 days later, walking barefoot down the tracks near the tunnel. Eyes wide like he'd seen the devil sleeping, feet cut to ribbons from the gravel, and his shirt, inside out and buttoned wrong, like he'd dressed in the dark. Or worse, like someone else dressed him. He didn't remember his name, didn't even remember he'd gone out looking. Only thing he said was, "I heard her breathing in the rock, and then she was in me." These days, they come from everywhere. Ghost hunters, podcasters with boom mics and bravado, YouTubers flashing ring lights in the dark, hoping to catch something they ain't ready for. They bring their gear, EMF meters, thermal cameras, spirit boxes buzzing like hornets. But most of them, they leave empty-handed. Not all, though. Some leave different. One fella said the center of that tunnel went cold. Not just a draft, not just chill, but bone rot, lake in January cold, the kind that slips under your skin and stays. Said he heard singing. Not words, just sound. Soft, breathy, like a lullaby humming through teeth. Another gal, braver than smart, maybe, walked in alone. Barely made it 10 steps before she screamed. Said something grabbed her wrist, tight and wet, like fingers pulled fresh from the riverbed. Left a bruise, too. Looked just like a thumbprint, only the color of frostbite. She ran. Swore she was being chased. Said she heard breath behind her, raspy and close, closer than her own footsteps. They checked the footage later. No shadow, no figure, just the stone wall behind her, slick with old water stains, and one message, carved deep in with what looked like rusted wire. Finders, losers, a warning maybe, or a promise. One old fella lives not too far from Spurlington, up past a bend where the road turns to gravel. Said he was dared into that tunnel when he was just a boy. Didn't even make it halfway in. He said the air changed first, got tight, like the dark itself was breathing. Then came the hammering, not echoes from the past, but fresh, close, like someone was working a chisel on the inside of the wall, chipping away at the stone from within. He turned his flashlight toward the sound, and just beyond the beam, he saw a hand. Not a person, just a hand, sticking out of the stone like it was reaching through the mountain. Pale, fingers long and stiff, bent like they'd been broken and set wrong, the nails black, the skin thin and stretched too tight, like wax left out in the sun. When he blinked, it was gone. But he ain't never gone back, not once. And after all these years, he still sleeps with a jar of salt by the door. Says it keeps her out. Says it keeps the mountain quiet. Now, I gotta ask, have you ever stood on old rails that didn't feel right? Ever heard a whisper in a place that should have been still? You ever been to Spurlington? You ever felt her? Let us know what you seen. But be careful what you share. Some names don't like being spoken out loud.
When you step in that tunnel, you best know it ain't just stone you're walking through. It's a grave. It's a door. It's a warning. And I'm still here, scratching spells in the dust, listening for footsteps, waiting on fools with greedy hands. You come looking for what ain't yours, then I'll come calling to take back what is.
If this tale raised the hairs on your neck, click that like button. Subscribe to Kentucky Melody for more haunted hollers and witch-haunted woods. And if you ever find yourself walking a rail line with nothing but black ahead of you, don't go listening to the whispers, 'cause sometimes they whisper back.